Well. It appears we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the last of Part 5, Volume 11's Chit Chats, PrePub Chit Chats. You guys, the end is near. I can feel it, you guys. But, all things must come to an end. And today we finish Part 5, Volume 11. It has been a wild ride. There has been all sorts of craziness in the Sovereignty and the Royal Academy. Lots of political shiftings have happened. We got a new Zent. We get their point of view today. I'm excited to talk about today this week's PrePub too, because we got two very interesting point of views that are definitely worth talking and delving into. So with that said, though, I would just want to say hello to the Discord gang. Hello, gang.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi. We're going from the highest in status to the lowest, and I find that quite interesting.
Right. So
actually, that is a good point.
He is
the most important person in the new place, just because he provides fish, and therefore.
Oh, so in this case,
we know for sure that's what Rosamine would think.
So in this case, the last shall be first. Then I see where you're going. No, but really, like you said, I don't even think about it. It's like the two extremes. You get a queen, total Zent POV, and you get the fishermen. Like, these are humble folk. And yet they're so delightful, you guys. It was the point of view I didn't know I needed, and I loved everything about it. But
yeah, it was something I was looking for. I was looking for a fly on the wall point of view, but it was enjoyable to see the commoners, but I was expecting more to see a noble that was higher placed up that could see what the hell is happening, that would understand the significance. The commoners, it's like they talk about some stuff that's happening that's weird, that's never happened before, but they don't understand anything of it. They don't understand the significance of it all that much. So that was my only little grip with that chapter. Otherwise, I loved it as well.
Yeah,
but it was perfect in universe.
It was, and. You know what? I get it. I get that it would have been nice to see the nobles, because we know that there's already, like, it's not just like, oh, it's cool, we got a new op. No, there's like stuff going on in the background, kind of like faction politics and stuff like that.
To be fair, the commoners did get the preachings of our favorite noble.
I think everybody got those preachings. He was blasting those preachings from the rooftops. But let me go back to my initial point. That's a good point, though. It's lovely to see, because I think this volume in particular struck me as going full circle to part 1. Not just because we kind of get the Rosamine in this volume with her memories altered. She is basically Urano without having gone through part 1, without having done the commoner growth arc, and so it's kind of feels fitting to me that in this book we get a commoner people point of view to remind us just kind of what were her roots that she's forgotten, but that are nevertheless important and crucial to who she is. But before we get carried away, you guys, I don't want to forget to recognize the early birds that were here with us from, like, I don't know, more than 12 hours ago. So YouTube has this little quirk, and I know you guys like tagged me and said, like, yo, Mags, like, what's up? Like, the early gang comments were lost. I know, I'm so sorry. This is a YouTube thing. If I schedule this too far in advance, after like 12 hours, the comments are erased. So, but I did take a screenshot of the first couple of comments, and I do want to give a shout out to Luis Fernando Quiroga Gonzalez, who says, hello, good day everyone, and I hope you talk about the future proposal. Well, we'll see about that. We'll talk about Damiel later. We'll listen to the replay. Hello to everyone on my part, to those in the chat and on Discord. So say hello, peeps. We also had
Hello, peeps.
hello. We also had Jenny M, who says hello, Magpie and the gang. I won't be there live, but I will watch the replay tomorrow. Have fun. Okay, I hope you enjoy it. We also have Houston. We have a problem. Says, well, won't be there for the stream, but I teared up reading the Fisherman's Side story, and I don't even know why. I want to talk about that later. I will talk about that later. Anyways, Houston, we have a problem. Does wish us to have a fun stream. And thank you so much. We will do our best. I'm already having so much fun, you guys. I love it. It's my favorite day of the week. And also we have Akihana, who said, hello, early birds. And also left up a whole bunch of points that unfortunately were erased. I'm so sorry, Akihana, but you're here in the chat. I see you. Say all of the things that you wanted to say that unfortunately got deleted. We also had, I think, Timonia DeVille was also there. So just want to say hello to those folks that were on the chat. And also, during the week, just want to shout out to some folks who, like, let's see, I think I got like a, I'm trying to find the name. Yeah, I got some donations over on Ko-fi, so thank you. I think it was Alvaro. Thank you so much for your support, as well as to Red Tempest, who, where's your comment? I saw it here. Red Tempest, thank you so much. Have a heart for me. Thank you for your support, and thank you also for the batch of memes. I can't wait to share with everybody. And Red Tempest says, so sad we have only one more volume left to go. But you know what? That's 2 months worth of content, and we'll just enjoy it. We'll enjoy it. So anyway, all that to say, you guys, I'm so happy to be here, and let us talk about what happened in this PrePub. So we're gonna start with the Eglantine point of view. Who wants to go first? I think I heard Fergie. Or was it Ashes?
Finally nice to finally, I don't know if it's like muffins, but she doesn't even fully reflect on what she did to Rosemine, and now that it's kind of come full circle, it's like Schadenfreude, or however you pronounce that word. It's just anyway, someone else wants to talk about it? Yes, that's it.
Something that made me chuckle a little bit was Eglantine's realization. I just gave my name to this girl and she's dying!
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of our names were freaking the hell out about that one.
Unfortunate. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Eglantine is a true noble, unlike Rosemine. So that means that manipulation and blackmail is just par for the course. And as we see in her thought process, she thinks, well, it's something that any noble would do.
Mm-hmm.
Be self-serving, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So she sees, her blackmailing Rosemine and forcing her to do something that she wouldn't want to do as something that's completely normal.
Yeah. So, since Part 5, Volume 5, I do remember when we did the regular chit chat with the whole full volume one. We're like, we kind of absolved Anastasius of his involvement because he apologized as much as he could, or as much as he could for a royal. He did pretty. It was a big gesture. But we're like, where's Eglantine? How does she feel? Is she remorseful about having done this? Is she does she feel at all sad? But we don't get a single bit of remorse or repentance, even in this chapter. Literally, it says, if we had arranged a marriage between her and the next Zent, then the entire situation would have been neatly resolved. And then Anastasius is like, yeah, that side of you is why Rosamine accused the royal family of using her loved ones as bargaining chips. And she's like, oh my, but any noble would have behaved in such a way. Do you have something to say? I know you do. Patrick, resident Eggy Simp.
Sadly, I do have things to say about this.
Okay. You have the floor.
Anastasius does call her out on this mentality, and you know that Anastasius is trying to be the mediator in this relationship because I think he actually wants them to be friends. He wants Rosemine and Eglantine to maintain a friendly relationship.
Mhm.
And when he says what he does about, hey, this is kind of why Rosemine says what she does about us, because you did some messed up stuff to her. She's like, oh my! But any noble would behave in such a way, not just a royal. Is really so, or is it really so uncommon to exploit another's weakness to guarantee their cooperation?
Mhm.
I think my ability to simp for this woman was kind of broken in this part because she knows what she did. She's not sorry for what she did, and she justifies it as, this is just noble common sense.
Yeah, unfortunately. So here's the thing about Rosamine. She does fall for pretty faces. She has a weakness for pretty faces and soft-auraed women. I get it. Who's not charmed by a beautiful person who's gentle and sweet and fluffy natured, right? I get it. But oh man, I get both points. You have to be in this cutthroat world. You have to be cutthroat too. But yeah, it's just difficult. And I know I have been really tough on Eglantine, but I will say like because I wanted to spare my final thoughts until this one where we finally get her POV. She's now gonna get kind of like retribution or something like that. She's kind of gonna pay for what she did by taking on the task she absolutely did not want. And so that's because she's going to become the Zend and have this huge burden upon her. I'm like, well, you got it coming. So while you did bad, you do get to pay by doing this.
Somewhat, at least.
Yes. Anybody else?
Well, yeah. The only saving grace of Eglantine's actions towards Rosamine is that all the actions that she did, none of it was filled with any malice whatsoever. That's the only thing that saves Eglantine from like being tossed off the cliff in my heart.
I still. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but she's close to the edge. And when she decides to take the throne, she goes, this is the only path to avoid peace, which is still her one goal that she was working towards, avoiding more bloodshed. So at least she's consistent with that, and she had no malice in the actions that she took, even though it did cause some harm. Unlike some other nobles that plot with malice, with the intent of causing harm, while as she plotted with no malice with the intent of causing the least harm, or causing no harm as much as possible.
Yes.
So in a way, you could say she's a very nice noble in the world of Jürgen Schmidt.
Yeah, and say what you will,
Right.
she is authentic in her desire to bring peace to the country, which is a noble goal. Is it noble enough to like sacrifice other people and like that? I don't know, but it is a good goal, and she is willing to put her what's the saying, you guys? The English saying, put your money on the what? Whatever.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Yes, there is. Thank you. Sorry, I've been working too long. Anyway, so, and she does so by taking on not just, the role of Zend, to represent to mediate between duchies and all that stuff, that the role of Zend as she understood it, but also when she goes to visit the Garden of Beginnings to take on the role of Zend as the mediator between gods and humans. So she has to take on that additional thing. And she's willing to make an oath with make an oath with the goddess of light herself right there and then, against Ferdinand's advice, but she goes and does so anyway to prove her sincerity. And props to her, because that's a huge thing to promise, and the ramifications of not following through on that promise are pretty dire if you don't comply, right?
Well, there was one thing about that promise that she made that the whole time was nagging me.
Oh, what is it?
There's no due date. She promised she'll do it, but there's no due date.
That's good. She is a noble after all.
So she could wait till her dying years,
Yes, she
Well,
could.
by a godly perspective, that's like in a week,
Oh, that is true.
or even if that.
Yeah, and I think it was a good choice for her to it was the wording. She made the wording, and I think that's just her noble upbringing. If we're gonna say, if she lives in a cutthroat world and she knows how to be like that, then she knows how to also cover her butt during writing out a contract, to make it as favorable as possible to herself. I think that was absolutely not an accident. No due date.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then if she doesn't make any progress, that she might be considered in violation of her contract, so she needs to make slow, steady progress anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, she does. And anyway, it's her daughter's on the line. I'm sure the last thing she wants to do is leave her daughter motherless. I think she cares for her family quite a lot. So that we do, I do like that about her. She basically sacrificed herself not just for the peace of Jürgen Schmidt, but also because she wanted to be with her daughter. So yes, Eglantine. Now this chapter began with a conversation she had with Anastasia. Of course, they were talking about how she treated Rosamine. But the other thing was like, she was giving him the opportunity to divorce her. He's like, I'm sorry, I went back on what we had agreed about our marriage. I wasn't gonna seek the throne or try to be political. And if you want to divorce me, you can. And of course, Anastasius, what did he do?
In sickness and in health, until death do us apart.
Good.
This is kind of why I still simp for Eglantine, because she is a genuine person. She does genuinely love Anastasius. She does genuinely want to have peace and no conflict. I mean, what she did in this part of the PrePub, it strained that relationship for me. Mm-hmm. But yes, I'm still a simp for this girl. I will still stand behind her. Okay. And all you haters can come get me. I will die on this hill.
Please don't die. So that's the one thing. The other thing we talked about was what was it? Oh yes, she did the dedication whirl, and then she went up. And what was the first thing she saw? What did she see during the dedication, up in the Garden of Beginnings?
Something remember? Completely lewd.
What did she think was going on?
She thought their passions got the best of them.
No, and not just their passions, just Ferdinand's passion. It looked like Rosamine was the unwilling, because Rosamine was clearly struggling. So she's like, was this worth interrupting what we were doing, that serious business we were doing? She thought that he had just gone up there to, oh my goodness.
Her mind's in the gutter.
Yeah.
Her mind is in the gutter. So
again, that pesky noble common sense.
Right.
Scandalous.
Yeah, she called it early winter before autumn. She's like, I know that their union, that they truly love each other, that it's not a political thing, but still, I don't know if it's right to do so. and she continued to think about that, especially when she overheard what Miss Theonora was saying about how the one way to save Rosamine would be to drain all her mana and then re-dye her again. She's like, oh,
I think Jurgen Schmidt would allow it.
Well,
Yes.
for the good of everybody, right? Mm.
There is a little bit of caveat for that.
Oh,
The gods know something that Eglantine doesn't know, is that Rosamine is actually a year older.
mm-hmm.
That, irregardless,
Because they redid the baptism. So in theory, from from Miss Theonora's perspective, Rosamine is becoming an adult that year.
yeah, but that still doesn't matter at all, because from Eglantine's perspective, Miss Theonora just said commit necrophilia, and like drain all of your mana means you're dead, and then re-dye it. Of course, she's shocked.
I don't think that's
terrible.
quite what it.
No, I think it just
I think it's on the
going-
verge of death.
Verge.
I know I'm overthinking it, but still, there's no consent in that.
That's because the gods were honestly the gods are really, really dumb in this story. At
And,
least near the end here.
and
And
do remember that there is still something that Miss Theonora kept from Ferdinand about another way, but she smiled viciously and she left, or she just didn't answer the question. There is another way, but again, she keeps him in the dark because she hates him.
Petty.
Well,
He's petty.
Mm-hmm.
well, she might have told Ferdinand this time around as a bargaining chip to save Erwarman. It's just it wasn't covered specifically in the text because the point of view was Eglantine, and when Mr. Honora and Ferdinand were talking about that while she was giving the liquor to Erwarman, she wasn't paying attention to the conversation more. So Mr. Honora might have conveyed that information to Ferdinand at that time.
Yeah.
But the first time she didn't.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, if there had been an alternate method, it would have probably been easier and safer, and Ferdinand would have done it. Unfortunately, if she told him about it, it's not feasible for them. Whatever secret, I still think that if there had been another way, they would not have risked draining her and risking her life. Definitely, Ferdinand wouldn't have allowed it or done it.
Well, draining her and risking her life, from my understanding, is only to re-dye her mana. It's not to make her get her memories back. Getting her memories back is a different process.
No, that is true. Thank you. All right, so we have here again one of the things that Eglantine does while she is she's up there. She's like, this is chaos. Miss Theonora came. She feels the overwhelming power of Misty, and while Ferdinand and Miss Theonora are arguing back and forth, and at some point, Ferdinand tells her to heal Erwarman, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I hadn't even realized that there was somebody there." So there was Erwarman just standing about, and what did she do? She did something important.
She
Well,
healed him.
She went there and healed Everman.
Mm-hmm. She
the
did.
most important thing is that she actually conveyed the information that Rosamine and Ferdinand have been trying to get through the thick skulls of the gods in one sentence.
Oh yeah.
What?
And she actually talked to Everman, and I'm not sure if Messenger was already on that part, where the thing that Ferdy threw at him and the powder is actually from outside Jurgen Smith.
Oh yes.
And not from that country. So it's actually bad for Gervasio to actually be the one that rules the country. So technically, Gervasio is out of the picture. So if he was, then all hell's breaking loose there.
Yeah. And while they're talking about why Rosamine, they ask her, like, what about Rosamine? Why can't she be the Zent? Like, why do we have to give you, or like let you be the Zent when Rosamine already has the book? Why? And what did she answer about Rosamine's Zent abilities?
Well, she is harsh but fair. She says pretty much what everybody already knew, that Rosamine, while she's a nice person, she is very self-centered, and she would stop at nothing to get her own personal stuff done, and damn the consequences.
It's almost like a certain goddess we know of right now.
Yep.
So
Country be damned, books we love.
apparently, prioritizing your own desires to save somebody is too much of an unnoble thing, too unreasonable.
Oh, and she uses one of my favorite quotes from Star Trek.
What?
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
So I am unfortunately she comes from a totally different perspective. Again, we don't have to agree with her. Nobility sucks. But she is the person for the job. Neither Rosamine or Ferdinand are going to take on the role. Gervasio's out of the picture. And speaking of the other Zent candidates, it's funny to me. She's calling Ferdinand Quinta, Rosamine Mine, and Gervasio Trenta, or Treza, or whatever. He's like, do you get a new name when you get the Gutri's height? Because of course everybody has a story that she's not going to know about. I thought that was pretty cute.
And then they call her Eglantine, and she's like, oh, I guess I'm not special.
Yes, a special name.
She's not special. I bet she's going to be very disappointed when she finally gets her own, and her name will still be Eglantine. But we can change it to Eglantine. I used to call her Eglantine, so maybe she will enjoy that change.
Eggy Sensei.
No! Well,
Sure.
I guess she is a teacher at the Royal Academy, so okay.
She'll probably start
Not
figuring
anymore.
it out if she reads her book eventually. There's probably some wordage somewhere in the Grishashite about the gods addressing people by their true name all the time. So even if you change your name or you have a new identity, the gods will always address you by your original identity, and then she'll start figuring something out from there.
Maybe.
But that's like in the future when she starts reading things.
Yeah, when she gets her own, for sure. So we have this POV. Anything else we need to talk about the Eglantine POV before we go into the next POV?
All right.
Well,
Okay, so first was who was it? Crazy?
Crazy and me.
And then Ed. Okay, Crazy, go.
I really like the way that Ferdinand emphasized how dangerous Gervasio and all the things that he's brought to the country are. Like, first he paralyzes our wireman with instant death poison, which I'm surprised didn't kill him. And Eglantine really points out how dangerous that is because he's the core of the country. So he's basically holding all of Jürgen Schmidt hostage.
And then
how he uses the silver dagger.
Yes.
Throws it at him and emphasizes how powerless gods are against such weapons, because try as she might, Messinura could not protect her wiremen. And Ferdinand was really careful to throw it the way he threw it because it only cut his hair.
Which is already, like, if you think about it, this is like an ancient ex-god, no longer god. You cut up the hair of this dude. Like, who does that? Also, speaking of appearances, his hair, when his hair was cut, it turned into branches. Yeah. And another thing is when Eglantine looked at Erwin's face, she's like, oh, he looks familiar. She looks like my grandpa or something like that. Some grandpa from her mother's side, I believe it said. So I'm like, okay, so I wonder if everybody kind of looks like somebody they remember, or how
royal
was
blood.
it? It's the royal blood in action.
Yeah, I feel like it's something like that because in Europe, everyone's related. Basically, somebody's first cousin is someone's, actual brother and sister. So it's possible that way back down the line, when somebody got, I'm not saying Erwin, played around and such with Miss Yunora, with her, but we don't know. We don't know for certain. Maybe something happened, and basically somebody got what do you call this? Got Erwin's blessing, so to speak. I'm not sure. Again, this is just a theory of mine, but that's why he looks familiar.
Yeah, that's a good.
The way I see it, is Miss Yunora is the last surviving godly child of Geduld and Ewiglebe. However, that doesn't mean that they wasn't a human born that was the first Ent apparently had so much mana he couldn't control it normally, which is why he was given a stop and he became the first king. So I'm assuming maybe he was a demigod.
Oh, I think Patrick first and then Ed.
Okay, I don't think the gods interacted in that way with humanity, unlike the Greek gods. So I don't know if they are able to sire children among humans. So I don't know if that's a thing, but I'd have to defer to other people's judgment on that one.
So again, if let's remember the source of humans with magic power. It's not that a god and a human got together. Ewiglebe is doing his thing and with the goddess of earth, and that's where life comes from, be it humans. So everybody's a child of Ewiglebe. Whether you're commoner or not, whether you're an animal or whatever, because he is the god of life. And he's important enough that they can't kill him, because otherwise there would be no life. So just kind of to I want to read a comment that I saw here from the comments here on the YouTube chat. Here's another way of looking at it, or something to consider. Maybe, I don't know if it's the answer. It says, to humans, Erwin's human appearance changes from person to person to reflect people close to them. That's a kihana. That could be one way. Considering how Rosamine saw Ferdinand's features in him, and Eglantine saw her paternal granddad in him instead. And also, where was it? Somebody, where did it go? Anyway, so I think it could be either one or two of those things based on your perception, but I don't know. It's a lot of genetics of the royals playing around.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think that both of those can be explained by, since Ferdinand is as technically part of the branch royal family, he should have a thicker royal blood than the current royal family. So it would make sense for him to look like one of Eglantine's family members from that generation.
Yeah. Sorry, Ed, go ahead.
Yeah, it's because Eglantine's grandfather, the one that she taught about, I'm not entirely sure if I'm correct on that, but I in my mind at the time when I read that, it's like, was that the previous last Zent that actually died the Foundation? If so, maybe it's like Erwin takes some shapes of the appearance of the person that dies the Foundation, so his figure might change a little bit based on that. I might be wrong or not. The other thing that I have that's only based on one thing for the children of Ewiglebe that could also possibly potentially explain that is that every child that's born to commoners that is a child of Ewiglebe that was like child with mana that's not supposed to have mana is actually influenced by one god in particular. It's like Rosamine, we know she resembles Miss Yunora based on the descriptions, but Dirk and Frida, which are also the child of Ewiglebe that we don't know about, could resemble some other minor gods that we just haven't had a description for. That's one theory that I have in my mind. So it's potential. It's also potential that the last Zent could have been a child that rose up through there, but nobody knows about it because they were inheriting the freaking Bible, and when they're inheriting the Bible, it's not getting updated with the new information that the true book has. So whatever knowledge was inside the Grishite was the knowledge that was written when Adel-Zdi, that king that created that tool. That's where the knowledge stopped growing inside that tool.
Yes. We get, by the way, I'm not going to go into that part because we're kind of short on time, but we do get names of the king, of the queen that did the deal with the Gutrishide, and even Eglantine was like, "Oh shoot, yeah, my family messed up back."
I'm ashamed you're related to that person.
Right? Yeah. So, by the way, Patrick, thank you so much for the super chat here. Have a heart for me, lots of hearts. And you say also Ferdinand bartering with the gods, stating they can't afford to smite him due to his importance. Ah, yeah. Man, Ferdinand has some cojones in this one, man. Like this whole volume or two, he's been like, whoa. Love it though. So, yes.
As he says, he doesn't start fights that he can't win.
I know. You go in or go big or go home. And I fully agree. That's why I admire, because I would never, but I admire. All right, so let's get started on the next second chapter, and it is the one called "The New Obs Bizarre Bizarre Magic." We got some commoners. I think the only names I remember is Jiffy, and I think somebody was Furt. And I only remember Furt because somebody said it was really close to fart. Sorry.
Yes.
I have a juvenile mind. But yeah, it's Jiffy from the peanut butter and Furt. I don't know who was the other guy. I don't care either.
Emil's.
So
I was the one who said the fart.
Oh, okay.
Fart thing.
Oh, thank you, Emils. Anyway, professionalism, Magpie, professionalism.
Yeah, good luck on that one.
All right, so we stop it. So we got these three fishermen, or these fishermen guys. They're talking about how the fish in around Alexandria, the city, there's not as many as before. And one of them is like, yeah, I think it began to get so bad when the ships from Lanzanadian people came, and they're like, nah, I don't think so. I think it's just your imagination. But the guy was true. These ships, they were actually stealing mana from the ocean around, so the waters were murky and the fish were skinny. And this was in Alexandria, in Arensback, in Arensback proper, around the harbor, where there's more mana. And we learned that from another fisherman that further north where Rosamine was at, like, things are even worse. So but yeah, so we get before and after. So the before the Ob's Bizarre magic, we had very little fish. People were struggling. People were angry at the leadership, or at least disgusted with the leadership. Leadership being the blonde Ob.
Oh yes, they had some words for a certain someone's favorite lady.
What did they say about Detlin and her behavior?
Oh, that she was a terrible person. That she couldn't stand the sight of the commoners.
Hold on, yeah. Hold on, Emils. Keep going, Patrick.
She couldn't stand the sight of the commoners. She demanded that they not be there when she comes down to the ports, and make room for the Lasnavians when they come in. And Detland was... Thank God she's out of the picture now.
They actually call her the last Ob had some screws loose. They're like, I don't care who took her place. I'm just glad we got a new person. She was a real piece of work. And they said the moment her old grandpa died, all the rules started getting ignored. I'm like, it wasn't her grandpa, it was her dad. But it just goes to show how much of a disconnect there is from nobility just from the leadership, the Ob and their house, from the commoners. Commoners didn't even know Detlin's name, didn't even know that the old Ob was not her grandpa but her father. And I see this changing soon with Rosamine in the lead. She's going to reach out and embrace everybody and take care of everybody. And these are deserving individuals. I thought they were charming. They were fishermen. They were a little coarse and a little bit rough around the edges. But I think they were still charming.
I wanted to insert this a little bit. To be fair, I don't think the commoners in Ehrenfest know the name of Sylvester. They still call him Ob Ehrenfest. I think it's pretty common that the commoners don't know the names of most nobles, unless they're merchants and have a reason to.
Good point. So this is a Jürgen Schmidt problem. Well, Rosamine's gonna make sure, or has already made sure, and her loyal Hartmut has made sure that they know who they have to thank for their bounty and beneficence.
Oh yeah.
Rosamine.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, hold. First,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Ed, then Patrick, then emails.
Yeah, Hartmut and Clarissa are about to start the Alexandria Pravda department, spreading the word.
Yeah.
There's gonna be banners and loudspeakers and everything spreading the word all over the place.
Oh yeah. Yes. They're doing a fine job already. Patrick?
I was just trying to figure out how they would say praise be to Rosamine, since praise be to the gods is Kamini Inorio. Would it be Rosamine ni Inorio, or how would that get conjugated in Japanese?
I don't know. I'm sorry, we don't have a resident Japanese scholar with us.
You're right. Hello,
Hello,
resident
Teal.
Japanese scholar.
Teal, you have a lot of background noise.
Teal.
I think that's Emil's.
Oh, was that Emil's?
Let me just mute myself
Emil
there.
does too. Never mind.
Okay. All right. So after Patrick, it was emails.
So yeah, speaking of Arensbach or Alexandria for now. So remember, as I mentioned, Forts. Let's just call him that. So remember how he described Rainbow Leslie. So Rainbow Leslie gets brought up again, and they said it was like a barn of some kind. A rainbow-colored barn, a 2-story barn, and his friends won't believe him and such. And and then when the thing happened, they still don't believe him. So yeah, that's actually kind of and that's when Hartmut, went and came and then did the brainwashing part. I actually loved that part. I was actually smiling and laughing internally when Hartmut came into the picture and then did his thing with the commoners.
Yeah. By the way, somebody said, Stone Titan said, to answer your question, says, let's just guess, Rosamine Banzai! Banzai! I think that's the best way
I like it.
I think it's canon now. Yeah, so we had the flying Lessie. Everybody wants to see this contraption, but of course they need to see it to believe it. So ultimately, it was like they were comparing this amazing show of lights, like a giant magic circle spreading all over Alexandria or Arensbach. And they were still like, yeah, but that's not a rainbow granary with a fey beast's head and tail. They were still really, really surprised at it, and they said it's pretty. But I think what impressed them the most, what filled them the most awe, was just seeing the results of it the next day, which we can talk about. Remember, the ocean was all cloudy and there weren't as many fish, and And the other merchant, I think he owns a boat that traveled up and down the coast. He said like, yeah, and she poured out these rainbow blessings, and then the fish got super fat like right away, and they're like, nah, nah, nah. And then these guys, like, the next morning they got to see that it was true. There wasn't just a whole bunch of fish to be found, but the grass had grown to like really tall where there had been no grass. Like it would like Alexandria was teeming with life. And I think, who was it that said that towards the end they got a little teary-eyed? And I was like, you know what? I also got teary-eyed. I don't know why, you guys. I don't know why. I also felt like something like, this is so beautiful and I'm so happy for them. It was a really nice story.
Because we're feeling pride in our little gremlin who she's made it. It's kind of like when Naruto finally becomes accepted by his village. It's like our person's made it, and we're happy for them.
The comment from the person that probably made you teary-eyed was the one dude's father, which was retired because his knee got busted, but then it got healed up properly by Rosemine because of her blessing. And when he was walking down with his son, he says, "That's exactly how I remember it in the past."
Yes.
That's probably
Yes. Yes.
That's how it used to be in the past. It's the dad that was retired because of busted knee.
Yeah. Yes. I think that was why.
Right now.
I'm sorry. We're all talking over each other. I'm sorry.
I didn't see who was before. I thought I heard Teal's voice. Or was it... Who was it? Never mind.
Emils and Patrick.
Emils?
So yeah, that's I believe that's the very almost at the end of the novel. Actually, I almost cried in a way that I'm relieved that the grandpa actually is able to go back out of retirement. But I'm also sad about his son. He thought he's already the man of the house, and then now he becomes the not man of the house anymore. So yeah, I feel bad for the son itself. His pops out of retirement.
And I gotta say, I totally skipped on this, but we get a recount or a retelling of what they were doing during the Lanzanave invasion. Like, they hated the Lanzanavians just because they had attitude. They polluted their seas. But when they realized that they were kidnapping women, did they just hang back and just like let it happen? Oh no!
Hell no!
What did they do?
They were Chads. They jumped in and they fought to save these girls. They were like, you will not take our women.
Yes. And even,
whether they be nobles or rich girls or whatever, you will not take them.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
also,
it's so charming. So nice.
Also, I think we should highlight something that Philip A. Demick said in the chat. We totally skipped on the fact that Rosemine's love of simple salted fish really endeared her to the commoners. Like, wait, she doesn't like all that BS spices and stupid fancy stuff. She just likes simple salted fish. That's what we like. That's what we eat.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. Though I was gonna bring up the Crusher's comment. By the way, Crusher, thank you so much for your support. Have a whole bunch of hearts. Did say Banzai for Rosamine, all hail books, hooray for salted fish. The fish called Shiyo Yaki. The court chef was absolutely beside himself, not knowing what the heck that was. The name was Shiyokaki, whatever.
Shiyoyaki.
Shiyoyaki.
Shiyo in Japanese, I believe, means salt, and I don't know if yaki means fish, but
takoyaki. I think it might be because one of my favorite desserts is takoyaki, or something like that. Or was it?
Well, in
Isn't that octopus though?
No, never mind.
Yeah,
I know.
Octopus.
Sorry, it's the fishies that have the that are shaped like the breads that are shaped like a fish. Something. Anyway.
Oh.
And then
think
they
I know
have
what you're
ice
talking
cream
about. I
inside.
can't remember what it's called either.
Ice cream fish Japanese. There's a store like down the street where I go and get. Oh,
someone
taiyaki,
answered for us.
taiyaki.
Someone answered for us. It means grilled.
Oh,
Yaki.
okay. Thank you, B. Thank you. Okay. You're right. All right. Takoyaki fish taco. Pablo Roshi. Oh my gosh, you guys are killing me. You guys, we're falling behind. Well, actually, no, we're not falling behind. I have a run scheduled in about 15 minutes. So we better make this last. It's worth it.
So I think it's also important to note that our favorite Rosebine simp, he doesn't just brainwash and blackmail nobles. He extends his efforts to the commoners as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had Hermit at his finest, you guys. He wasn't just like, okay, I'm gonna tell you guys, look at this, guys. No, he was like, okay, everybody pray. No, that was pathetic. Pray. No, he was like deeming all their efforts like pathetic until he finally got everybody, and I mean everybody in the city, to lift their leg up and do the pose, and to pray in one accord. As the show of light came on. And something interesting to note also was that the fisherman says that he also he felt like a kind of unity when he prayed with everybody else. So I was like, oh, so it's not just when you offer mana, but it could also be like when you're wholeheartedly, saying the thing. And of course, it could be like either a religious thing, or it could just be like the thrill of doing something like en masse, like when you go to a game or stadium or a concert, just the rush of doing something with thousands of other people, it's still amazing. So it could be either one of those, but I think it was a nice little touch to include.
Yeah, it's very similar to, as you said, it could be a religious thing, which this could definitely qualify. It could be team spirit, like you mentioned in sports. It's also similar, in my perspective, as for anybody who's been in the military, when you're going through boot camp and they teach you to act as a unit, and you're responding as a unit, you're performing as a unit. It's a very unifying thing. It works well for someone who's trying to brainwash the masses and get them all on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mention something Patrick might mention a few times. It's like a few chapters ago, Ferdinand was telling Rosemine that her temple school might become a thing and commoners might be able to use her library, but that's going to be in the future, in a long time. It's like, while Ferdinand might be trying to slow that down, slow, steady progress, I think Hartman is going to go, oh, full gas, full throttle ahead, we got to spread the word.
I wouldn't put it past him. All he wants to do is to do whatever Rosamine wants. Like he just wants to fulfill her wishes, and if it'll endear him more to her, if it'll win more brownie points or whatever, I think he'd be willing to go full throttle ahead with this whole operation. I mean, he is still high priest, or I don't know. Is he still high priest?
No, he's.
I think he's
not yet. Not anymore.
I think he's handed over all those responsibilities to Melchior's retainers.
No, I mean, but in Alexandria, I don't think he would be high priest in Alexandria, would he?
No.
I think he'll take the mantle.
Okay.
He'll probably, as Rosemine's head scholar retainer and former high priest of Aaronfest, he's probably gonna go down to the new now Alexandria temple, and he's gonna take management of the temple, but without being there. He's gonna go to the bishop and the high priest and says, "This is the new rules. Follow them."
Yeah.
And don't forget to praise Rosemine.
Yeah.
I see that happening. I do see that. Eric Ford is putting, as nobles, you should understand what a feat this is, revitalizing an old divine ritual. And then says, Rosamine is the carrot, Hartmut is the stick. I think I agree with this statement.
Very much so.
You hit the nail on the head. So, let's see. Somebody said, okay, Red Tempest, thank you for supplying us with delicious, beautiful memes. And yes, we have one more Ferdinand meme. I made sure to show it, but I will show it again. The power move.
Yes,
there we go.
Your favorite subject.
Of course. How could I let an opportunity pass?
And you call me a simp.
I did not mean it in a way to make you feel
Oh,
bad.
come on!
He's never disagreed with it.
I have...
Yep. I embrace it.
You will simp what you want to simp. I might question who you simp, but I cannot question simps because I am one myself. I cannot judge. Anyway, so what else do we have to cover about this side story with the fisherman? I do believe we have covered most of it. Or if not, we covered the most important bits.
I did want to say, when they're going over the names of the commoners as they were interacting with each other, Ankh and Sect kind of surprised me because I was like, wait a sec, do they have Egyptian names here? Because that doesn't sound right in a country that has very Germanic type names.
Well, in the north, it's French type names in the Klausenberg.
Huh. I guess I hadn't caught that.
Yeah,
So,
they have some etymology issues, but a lot of times though, when it sounds like kind of like not, when it sounds like a name that doesn't sound either Germanic, French, or Italian, and it sounds more like a Japanese thing, it could be probably a pun, a Japanese pun or something like that. So
that is true.
Or like an anagram of a Japanese word, like for example, Kashik, Colleen's father, is an anagram for Shikaku, which means failure, and Shikikoza, an anagram for small fry night. So probably there could be a meaning if it's maybe Japanese sounding. All right.
Yeah, and Miyakazuki would not be the first Japanese author to do this. Everybody's favorite Dragon Ball author was very well known for doing this for all his characters.
I am so sorry. I've never watched Dragon Ball and I've never watched Naruto, so a lot of these references are kind of skipped on me. So, but yeah.
well,
Thank you for sharing.
the easy low-hanging fruit from Dragon Ball is Vegeta.
Yeah.
Shout out Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo.
Yeah. That's another one.
All right, everybody. It is 4:59 and I have an appointment to keep. I wish I didn't have to, but I do have to get on going, you guys. So with this, we end part 5, volume 11. And I do believe we are going to... I haven't heard of a break, so we are going to continue on into the next volume next week. Unless there's a break, but nobody has heard of a break? Nobody.
I hope there's no
Yeah,
break, but then it makes the series end faster.
I know.
I don't know which one I want.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
How many parts will it be, though?
Wait, hold on a second. Emails first, Patrick, then emails.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure Quaff would have said something by now if there was going to be a break, but
Especially
I'm still like, yeah, I'm still like, I don't want this series to end.
Yeah. I don't either. You will feel the
That
hollowness.
means
You'll feel the hollowness once you finish that I felt when I finished the web novel. Ooh, it was so sad.
that just means we can move on to the fanfiction then.
The Hannelore.
Yeah, and the Hannelore. Emails. I did not forget about your emails.
So yeah, my question is, since being a web novel first reader as well, like you, Magpie, there's still, I believe, a lot that hasn't been covered yet in the final parts.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, how many would it be? Since it's coming from the Japanese pub. So how long was, I believe, the novel? Somebody from Twitter, I read it. I just forgot to post it. Is that they're saying that it's like gonna be another 8 parts again? So that's kind of short for my for my opinion, covering all those still missing parts. So
Yeah.
I hope.
There's a lot of loose threads that we would love to see covered, and I believe that this world could use. There's a lot of stuff that could be explored. I'm guessing that they're gonna leave some of it for Hannelore and some of it maybe for the sequel of the series, which I do believe there is gonna be a sequel. So it depends what she's gonna cover in those works. But for now, I do know that at least 2/3 of the next volume were all fresh content, stuff that I haven't read. I do have an idea what it was, what some of those things are, but I am looking forward to reading those things. Yeah. So you guys, I guess before we end, just want to say, do you guys have any idea or any guess as to who would be the prologue, or what side stories you want to, or what other stuff you want to see in the next PrePub?
I would have to say it can't be Ferdinand because the last thing Rosemary saw was she passed out, and I don't think a Ferdinand POV right afterward would be able to explain enough of what else is going on outside of Rosemary's perspective, being as both the side stories and the prologue are usually not from something that Rosemary can see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe one of their retainers.
Let's see, we got Grisha.
Yeah, I think I could.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Grisha anymore since she's no longer required due to divine mana.
Yeah, I was counting off like the ones that we already got. It's like, so it could be. There's a lot of navigating or of stuff we could figure out. I'm wondering about all of those names sworn that were sent out to guard the gates. Remember, we had Cornelius and we had Lawrence and Matthias. They were all each assigned the gate while the magic thing was going on. Maybe we can get some information from there.
Cornelius for short story.
Short. Sorry, could you repeat it again, Emails?
I'd actually like to have a Cornelius POV of the ritual, so that we will get to see Bonifacius reaction during that time. It would be kind of funny.
Yeah, what was going on with Bonifacius hurling or grabbing Cornelius? What was that? I think I saw Nick also. You were gonna say something, Nick?
Yeah, I'd like to get some closure or a viewpoint from Alexis. I know we got something from him pretty recently, but like, what's going on with the retainers of Wilfred right now?
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Dang, that is true.
They gotta be in turmoil knowing that their boy is he doesn't have much of a future ahead of him.
Not that he seems to care. Sorry, Ed.
Have we had we did have a Letizia point of view, right? But it was when she was handed the face stone of her attendant, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would probably like another Letizia point of view now that the situation is happening. Now that the situation is happening, and now she's unsure where her future is going to be going, but she thinks it's going to be for the good or something like that.
Yeah.
She might be a good narrator to start the next book while Rosamine is out for the count after her little spell, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And Ferdinand is probably attending to Rosamine 24/7 along with her retainers. They're probably locked up, and Letizia is not even academy age, is now essentially de facto running the duchy for Rosamine and Ferdinand in their absence.
Yeah,
which is like a lot of weight to put on the shoulder of the little kid, because that's what she's been doing when Ferdinand and Rosamine are not there. Letizia is still running shit.
Well, less than running the stuff. I think probably she would be, because she's still an underage kid. She doesn't have the training.
Yeah.
What I do want to see her though is wrangle her faction and tell them to like, because they're misbehaving. They want to get rid of Rosamine. We read that in the last PrePub. So I would like to see her do something about that. I don't know.
I think as her mentor, Ferdinand is going to have a talk with her and let her know, hey, you have a faction and you need to be more than a figurehead. You need to actually wrangle them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
It's another Rosamine situation. Where she had to learn to wrangle the lazy gangs. Fortunately for Rosamine, she didn't have to do it. The other people did it, but in this case, Letizia does have to step up. I
will say that is kind of to Rosamine's detriment, because she really does need to learn how to do this political wrangling.
Yeah.
Especially now that she's an ob, she needs to know, hey, you have some responsibilities, girl.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, here's another comment. Red Tempest said, when was the last time we had a Harmwood POV? And then Akihana says, I'd like to get an Alexandria Temple POV. And then Thomas 70 says, it'd be at Hartmut loose on the Arensback Temple. Okay, that would be an interesting one. I do love a good Hartmut POV, you guys, so I wouldn't be at all against a Hartmut prologue. I would like that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, but that will have to be for next week, you guys. It is now time for this chit chat to end. And I thank you all for joining me and for sharing your beautiful thoughts and for all the laughs and for the memes. And remember, you can join me if you have been dying to get in these talks. You still have a volume left to join us. You can do so over on my Ko-fi page. You can do so over on my Ko-fi page. Join in there as Noble member, Noble tier, Archduke tier, and Zent tier. They all have different perks. And also, once we are done with these, with PrePub, we are gonna go back to the very first volume, part 1, volume 1, and we will do chit chats for those. But this time they have spoilers, so we will talk about all the stuff that happened in the previous, in like all the stuff like pointing out foreshadowing for what happened towards the end of the book. It'll just be fun. And we will be doing the chit chats that I haven't been able to do, the light novel for part 5, volume, I think it was 8, 9, 10. Yeah, Life Has Been Lifing. And by the way, you guys, somebody in Trash Tears video, I always watch his videos, okay? I do. I'm a lurker. I don't comment, but I lurk. And I was reading a comment and they were like, yeah, you have finally caught up with Magpie. She stopped doing these like since part 5, volume 6. I was like, excuse me? Excuse me. We do have light novel chit chats. They're just not easy to find. So just saying, spread the word, you guys.
That, and we haven't really done.
Yeah,
we haven't really done the light novel chit chats in a while
because we're doing PrePub. But since PrePub is going to be over for the light novels, we can definitely focus on going back into what we used to do, and I will have a little bit of extra time. So do be on the lookout for that, you guys. Just because the PrePub is gonna end in about 2 months doesn't mean that this channel is going to go silent. I have lots of things planned ahead. And of course, the moment that I hear news of the next season, you can bet your boots I will be like doing fun things. We may do a countdown. We may do, I don't know. We'll do fun stuff. We may do a rewatch over on the server. Just fun stuff. So anyway, all that to say, join my Ko-fi now. Support your magpie and
Do it now.
oh, Patrick. Anyway, all right. So 2 minutes worth of plug, you guys. That's a record.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and buy her merch.
Okay. Yes. Take care, everybody, and thanks for joining me, gang. I'll see you the next week. Until then.